Welcome everyone to the show, Combustible Elements, real talk for real people. Here we try to put different ideas and perspectives together in a pot, heat it up, and get an explosion of knowledge and understanding. We understand that problems can only be fixed starting from the bottom to the top, building a great foundation for change and improvement. I'm Big Mel, and I'm joined by Ruben, aka the Monarch, and Aaron, the Hitman. Let's get started. Okay, guys, thank you once again for joining us for Combustible Elements. I hope everybody is doing okay, having an amazing day. We got a request to talk about a topic today about how should we plan right now at this moment for the future, because most of us don't plan for the future. And a lot of times it's a youth thing. A lot of times once we get past that immature youth stuff, we still don't plan. Some of the people that end up having the better arranged life financially plan for that life, not just got lucky. So we're gonna not get lucky right now. We're gonna talk about what we can do bare bones to make that situation work. We're gonna call this episode "The Future Is Now" because we make our own future now. The future is made in the past. So we're going to start with Ruben because I know a lot of people are going to just get stuck on the finances, but we're going to touch this on everything. Ruben, what do you think about the topic? What's on your mind, brother?
Well, I love this topic because a lot of times we complain about our current situations, not realizing that like decisions that we made in the past or over a period of time is what got us to where we're at today. So if we want to be better, currently I'm 34. So if I so 40-year-old Ruben, I have to prepare for him right now at 34 as I'm making my way to 35. Otherwise, I'm gonna end up at 40 and be complaining and saying, yo, look at how my life situation is, not realizing that small steps that I could have taken, in the 5 6 years leading up to that 40 could have truly benefited me, and that once I reach that age, for example, like a lot of us don't worry or don't think about saving anything outside of purchasing something. If when people think of savings, it's more or less like save for a rainy day, and that's fine. You should have quote unquote rainy day fund, but I don't like the concept of having savings for a rainy day, because if you save for a rainy day, then you're gonna get rain. Whatever you focus your mind on, that's what you're gonna get. So I just like the concept of having saving, just because if you work and you're able bodied and you make money, you should just have money. I like the idea of looking at my account and just seeing money in there, and it's not for because I'm saving for a house or a car or a business or any other miscellaneous thing. It's just more or less because like that's that should be something you have outside of money that you invest. You might have invested in the stock market and things like that, but just to have money in your account because you work and you work hard and you have money in there, and just not have anything attached to it. And just having setting up small goals to start training yourself to have money, so your future self could thank you later.
Okay, Aaron, what do you think about it? And Ruben, I have a question for you when we come back. And I don't have my pen to write everything down, so I'm gonna have to try to keep it in my old head. But go ahead, Aaron. What do you think about it?
Well, since Ruben is really touching on like the financial aspect of it, I'm gonna touch on like the physical aspect of it, because coming from a background where I was a fighter, a martial artist, you got to prepare now for what's to come later, which is a fight, something that you're going to be in. You can't just go into the fight the day of the fight and be prepared for the fight. You got to prepare yourself now for a fight that's going to be a couple months down the road. So again, like Ruben said, like you're not. I never trained for like a specific fighter or like a specific style. Like Ruben said, like you don't want to save money for a rainy day, because then you're going to get a rainy day. If you're training, for me, if I'm training for a wrestler and then the wrestler pulls out and I get a striker, I just train my whole training camp for a wrestler, and now I got somebody that's going to stand up with me. I'm not prepared for that. So I trained myself. I prepared myself overall just to be a better version of myself. So again, like you said, the future is now. So the future me, I want the future me in that aspect to be prepared for any type of battle or anything that I'm going into physically to be adaptable to that situation, or even just health wise, like going to the gym, eating the way you're supposed to eat instead of, having to wait until the doctor tell you that you're in a bad healthy situation for you to have to change that situation and try to fix yourself, because we don't damage our bodies overnight. It's over a long period of time. So we can't fix ourselves or heal ourselves or become healthy overnight. It's an extended period of time that takes for you to get back to that point.
Well, and that's true. That's 100% true. On both your topics, I have a question for you, Ruben, but I guess I should answer or put a comment in about myself and what I believe about the topic. I believe that we should plan for the future, but I also believe that immaturity plays a part of it. Like sometimes people learn from their failures more than their successes. So sometimes you got to fall a little bit or stumble a little bit to say to yourself, I should have planned better. And I'm here to tell everybody that's okay. You know, we all make mistakes. We all can pick ourselves back up and do better and do twice as better than as we were. To what Ruben said, he said he's 34 now. He wants to start now. He doesn't want to look at 40 and say, I'm starting, which is exactly what we want people to be thinking. We want them to be thinking this in their 20s. And I think all of us will concur on that. We want you thinking like this in your 20s, as opposed to your 30s or even 40s to like plan ahead. However, there are situations where you can do that because you don't know what direction your life is going to really take. Now, I'm someone, I'll be 50 this year. I wish I would have had the knowledge I have now and planned back then, but I also am in a better financial position to strive for those things that I may not have been able to strive to at those younger ages. My point in saying this is for all the older people that's listening to this is we can always make up the ground. You might have to work harder to make up the time that was lost, but that time that's lost, you can never get back. You can only move forward. And if you're going to move forward, just take in account your age, the time frame you want to stop. And I think Aaron is big on this. For those people that don't know him personally, Aaron believes in writing lists for everything. He writes everything down. If he does not write a list on what his goals is, they're not going to get accomplished in his mind. So he writes them down. And I think that's what people need to do. Write down what your goals, where you want to be, what you can physically or feasibly do, and then you'll get there without a problem. Now, my question to Ruben, what do you say for the younger person that never started and now they are an older person? You know, do you have any tips for them to start?
Like you just said, man, it's never too late to start. To be quite honest with you, it's just gonna take a lot more effort. It's gonna take a lot more effort. It's gonna take a lot more. Hopefully, you still have the energy. If you're older, to and the discipline, because that's really what it comes down to. At the end of the day, a lot of us don't do things because we're not disciplined enough to do it. Because motivation is something that's it's an emotion. It's like I can get you motivated, but when I'm not there anymore and there's nobody around to get you motivated, discipline is what's gonna push you through. So we gotta learn. You just gotta start teaching ourselves to be more disciplined with a lot of things. And I'm saying this even for me. I'm disciplined in a lot of ways, but in a lot of ways I'm not disciplined. And I know when I lost my step and I stopped being as disciplined with a lot of the things I was strict on myself about, it's cost me. So being able to get myself back to where I used to be financially, being able to get myself back to where I used to be with my credit and everything, that's going to require discipline. That's going to require sacrifice. A lot of us don't want to sacrifice because one of the things you hear a lot of times when people work, say, I work hard. That's the easiest way for somebody to blow some money over some frivolous thing because they tell themselves, oh, you work hard. Guess what? Everybody works hard. Everybody works hard. That's part of life. The only time you don't get to work hard is if you happen to be some type of trust fund baby, and if you're not, chances are you got to work hard. So saying you work hard should not be a justification for you to, lose your discipline and randomly, blow money on whatever the case may be. Doesn't mean you shouldn't enjoy life. Doesn't mean you shouldn't have fun. doesn't mean you shouldn't spend money. I mean, you work so you can make money so you can spend money, but it's got to be some type of balance. A lot of times, you know, we don't have that balance. We don't have that forward thinking knowledge of saying, yo, if I keep spending $5 a day every day, you know, that ends up being $5 grand at the end of the year. $27.40 a day, you know, it's $10,000 at the end of the year. Like that's. But you know, if you tell somebody, yo, you know, you blew 10 grand, you're like, man, I ain't blew 10 grand. Like, yeah, you ate every day. You went out to eat at such and such restaurant. You know, you spent $20 on food, $5 on a drink, and you know, $2 on tips, $2.40 on tips. That doesn't seem like it's a lot of money, but that's 10 grand. You know, something like small things like that. Over 2 years, that's 20 grand. Over 3 years, that's 30,000. You could do a lot with 30,000. You could do a lot with 10,000.
Without a doubt. And to what you just said, because I just ordered some food and paid a tip. I'm over that 27. I'm right around that 27.40 mark. And you know, it is when you do the math. But once again, it goes back to a pen and a piece of paper. If you save those receipts, what much people don't do, and which is a lot of times we use our cards to pay for stuff. That's so you don't look at the receipts and you don't have money in your pocket and you take the money from the money. When you look at the money that's left compared to the money that you had, something clicks, as opposed to if you're using your card. And I think a lot of people use their cards and transactions that way, and they don't really follow the money. But if you were to just sit down there, if you want to decide to make yourself save money, my best advice to you is go to your online bank account and see everything you paid money for that month, and just start subtracting what you needed and what you didn't need. And then pull out the receipts and then start saying, okay, I spent $26 here, $27 here. What did I get? Oh, I got 2 bags of M&Ms. I got 2 sodas. I got this. Did I really need that? You know what I'm saying? That's the way to make yourself say, okay, this is how I can save money. And then say to yourself, write another list saying, what could I do with that $10,000? Like, let's just use the 2740. You know, hypothetically speaking, most people that are low income and not middle class, they can't afford to put 2740 away. So it might be like $70. So say they put $70 a week away, $10 a day. You know, that's going to be maybe about $6,000. So you get to your $6,000. What could you do for $6,000? Okay, you could take 2,000 and take your whole family and go on a vacation somewhere, and then take the other 4 and put it in the damn bank. You know what I'm saying? So you can do a lot with that. And then, as Ruben said, we haven't even added the years together. If you add 3 years, that's 18,000. What could you do with 18,000 over those years? You know what I mean? So you save your money, and then 3 years from now, you say, I'm gonna get me a car. But instead of getting payments on the car, you buy the car straight up. Now, you don't buy a new car straight up. You go to the lot and buy that car that's been on the lot for 2 years with a discount. They got like 200 miles on it from test drive. It's the same car as the new model in a lot of cases, over like a 3 or 4 year plan, a 3 or 4 year time frame. And now you don't have those payments to go with it. So your insurance is cheaper. So it's a lot you can do if you plan ahead of time. The problem is we are a country of excesses. I say this all the time. And people are so impatient. They think tomorrow never comes. They think tomorrow is so like automatic. And as we get older, it's not just the discipline and maturity that comes into it. As we get older, time tends to move faster for us. You know what I mean? When you were like 15, 16, it took a year forever to come around. Now, once you start hitting 30, you look at the calendar and be like, damn, I'm still sounding 2020 and it's 2021. Like, time moves faster
because you
as
ain't
you
got
get older.
responsibilities, man. You don't have as much responsibilities when you're in your teens. You know, you just gotta worry about yourself. Maybe you got some schoolwork you gotta do. You know, you got a cell phone. You might have a girlfriend or a boyfriend, depending. You know, like you like life is just completely different. As an adult, you got bills, you got responsibilities, you got mortgage, you got insurance, you got car notes, you got utilities. You know, you got a job that you know that you gotta go back and get up early to get to. You know, even if you enjoy what you do, it's still a lot of stuff that's going on that you know the days just you're looking at the clock differently. You're like, oh my God, what time is it?
Right.
When is 5 o'clock getting here, or when is 9 o'clock getting here? You know, all depending on what you do for a living. Like you're looking at the clock, you can't wait for the time to pass so your day could be over and the weekend can get here.
Well, now, Aaron, I have a question for you
Yeah.
because we were just talking about the 15, 16-year-olds. How do you instill those good habits for the 20s, the 21s, the 22-year-olds? Because they're the ones that it becomes more predominant in having to save money. Like, maybe I shouldn't go get an apartment down. Maybe I should just wait and get a house. Like that should be my first move, you know, because it's really the same amount of money that you'll pay for a good apartment in certain areas. You can get a damn house for the same price and then start off, and then you'll be done that house by the time you're in your 50s, you know, or before, depending on how disciplined you are. I mean, how can we instill that in the generation coming up? Because a lot of millennials, past millennials have done that, but we've seen an explosion of prices for a lot of things. So how do you think we instill that in that 20-year-old and up generation in between 20 and 30 to have the discipline and focus?
Like that's hard because we talked about it before on a previous episode. Just you basically had to lead by example because sitting them down and explaining it to them doesn't help them necessarily break those habits. Because
so you mean family, right? You're not saying society, you mean family in general.
If you're doing it outside of family, you kind of gotta have like a mentorship program going on or something like that because you can't necessarily reach a 20-year-old out on the streets and explain to him how to break down what can seemingly be bad habits to him. So like me, I know like I used to like coffee. I still drink coffee, but now I make my own coffee. Instead of buying a coffee, I was buying 2 or 3 coffees a day. You know, 2 from Dunkin' Donuts, 1 from Wawa. And you know, that add up. That's almost $20 a day. And you know, if you're getting more than 1 coffee from Starbucks, you getting up there.
Listen,
well, if you paying $20 a day for 3 cups and you going to Wawa and Dunkin' Donuts, so you paying too much. You're a good tipper. Now, if you go to Starbucks and you throw that in there,
if you're getting a large and you're not, you know, and the Eagles not winning, so you can't get it for $1. You know what I mean? So, but no, but to my point, like habits like that, you spending that at least 4 or 5 times a week. You could put $15 up. If you got $15 to spend on coffee a day, $10 to $15, you could put that up. But people don't think like that. It's like if I had a $15 and I'm not spending it on coffee, I might as well spend it on something else. If you smoke it, if you have a habit of smoking cigarettes, then I mean either cut back or stop smoking cigarettes. You got to help break down certain addictions in order to start building up healthier habits. But you can't necessarily do that to a 19 and 20-year-old that you don't have a personal relationship with.
Well, I'm glad you used the word addiction because there's a lot of addictions. Like people just sit down and cigarettes, that's addiction. The prices of cigarettes, I'll never have that addiction, you know, because they're so high. Like it's just ridiculous. And then some people smoke a pack or 2 a day.
Smoke. Listen, I don't smoke, but that's because you don't smoke, man. Like they say, it's the same thing. Like people that gamble, you know, like they're gonna. Some people that gamble daily, like $10 a day.
Yeah.
Or you know, like you know, they gotta go get their gambling fix, and it's like that same money that you've been putting away every day trying to hit the numbers. Like chances are you're not gonna hit the numbers, you know. And even if you hit it once every few months, the amount of money that you put up don't equal the amount of money that you've hit for.
Right. So the more you hit, the more you're gonna put up. Really, you are, because you're gonna try to get a bigger score.
Everybody trying to hit it big one time, man. But in the same token, you know, with the same mentality of trying to hit it big, if you just took that same money, you just put it up, you just had the same discipline you had to spend it. If you had the same discipline to save it, you know, your future self will benefit from it, man.
So that's something that I had to come to a realization with, because I'm very disciplined, but I'm more physically disciplined than anything. And that's from playing sports and training. So like I can, go on to a diet to cut weight or wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go work out. But then I had to, when I wasn't able to physically train the way that I needed to, and I wanted to start changing my life around, I had to start being more disciplined with my finances. Because yeah, like I have a job, I have 1 and 2 jobs, and I'm making good money. But then it's like I really didn't have anything to show for it. I didn't have like a long term savings. I didn't have, I wasn't investing money. I met Ruben, and I just found out how old Ruben was today. I just knew that he was younger than me. So I'm 36, but I met Ruben, and Ruben has businesses. Ruben is investing money, and like I'm not the jealous type, but it's like that's something to inspire to. It's like somebody that's younger than me is putting out the effort and grinding, and he has something to show for it. While I'm grinding, and I'm like, all right, I got a car. I mean, I have a house, but it ain't my house. I mean, I'm paying somebody else paying rent. That, but like seeing that, and then I'm not going to say no names, but one of my friends that I read a post on Facebook, and me and him is the same age, and he basically his life going downhill, and I'm like, man, I'm 36. Like, what do I have to show for the grind that I'm putting out each and every day financially? Because I'm making the money, but I'm not doing anything with the money, and then I don't have anything to show for the money that I'm making. And then go ahead.
And no, not to cut you off, but in all fairness, like the way this country is set up is built to have people do what you've done. So it's not like taking ownership of what's happened and understanding what's happened to you is one thing, but the other part is like not blaming yourself completely because billions of dollars are spent to keep everyone in the same place. As far as like, look, you're gonna go to work, you're gonna work hard, and you're gonna spend that money as you make it. Because guess what? You work hard, so now you're gonna take a vacation, without properly planning for it. You work hard, so you're gonna buy a car that you're gonna put yourself in a 72-month payment for because you know what? Why not? You work hard. I did that. Like the last car that I purchased 5 years ago, and I'm still making payments on there. And now I'm looking like, yo, why did I take a 72-month payment plan on this vehicle? That wasn't a good idea. I was just trying to focus on making sure I got the payments at a price where I'm like, yo, I'm gonna be able to afford this no matter what, and make sure that it doesn't get repoed. Because I'm not trying to be the one, the boy that got this car repoed. It happens, but I just don't want that to happen to me. But because of that, now I got a 72-month note, and even though I've been making payments for the last 5 years, I still got 2 more years of making payments on this thing, and I'm paying over. I make sure I pay more towards the principal every time, and I still got like 18 months left of paying this thing. So, this country was made for you to be a worker, man. Like it's set up like every time you turn around, whether you're paying attention or not, you got ads popping up. You talking with your phone off. You turn your phone on, all of a sudden it's an ad about something that you was talking about popping up to let you know, hey man, I see you was talking about this. We got a discount for you. Hey man, I see you strolled over here for a little too long. How about a discount? Come through and buy this. We got you. Here's a free offer. Here's a free sample. Like, it's not by accident that if things are happening in your life the way they shouldn't be happening, that it has. But once you recognize and realize that it's up to you now to be like, okay, you know what? Let me go ahead and start making those decisions that's gonna benefit me in the future. Because otherwise, you're gonna wake up and you're gonna be older and you're gonna be like, yo, what happened? Like for me, one of the things I never wanted to be was like that drug dealer that was popping in the 80s, but don't got none to show for it now. So that's always been my mindset. Ever since I was young, like, yo, I'm not gonna be. I knew so many of those guys. You don't understand. I used to work with one of those guys. He was that boy in the 80s, but it's like, yeah, but you got to show for it now. So I've always been the person that like, it doesn't. If I got $1,000 or $10,000, you'll never know because I'm always broke.
Right. But now, just to piggyback off of what you said, piggybacking off of what Aaron said, I agree with you. The system is set up for people to stay in their positions, but now some bad decisions are made because they're good life decisions. for that dude or that chick that's living in a low income area, there's shootings all around them and whatever. They get to come up with a job and they move their family someplace else so they can have peace of mind or maybe put their kids in a better school district. I applaud you. I'm not going to say you made a bad financial decision. You made a better life decision for your family and everything. I mean, for me, I didn't want a car note. I never wanted another car note 10 years ago, but my daughter always went to schools that were in the suburbs where you had to travel an hour to it, hour to and from. And then I always worked jobs where you had to come in at like ridiculously different hours and you needed a vehicle to go back and forth. Not only did you need a vehicle, you needed a reliable vehicle. So my decision was built on I'm paying money for her to go here, and I'm also paying money for my son to go there, and I'm also paying money to get back and forth from work to make money. So when you make those life decisions and it costs you money, I don't condemn you for that. I understand that. It's just got to be a balance at some point. After you make that life decision, you got to have a balance to where you can save money, and then you can still look at it like this, so you can stay in that position you in, and then make it better for the next position that you make. Because that like decision may become you bought a house in a good area or you bought a house where you can save money, you know what I mean, for the next 30 years. And that's a life decision too. So I'm just saying that it's a balance between everything.
Yeah, don't be house poor, man. Don't be house poor because that's one of those things a lot of us do also, man. We want to get out the hood, so you go buy that big house in the suburb, and then you get the house, and that's all you got. You got no furniture, you got nothing else. You got the house though.
Well, that's what's going
house,
on
though.
right now. There's a lot of people that went out and bought houses during the pandemic, and they felt as though that was the best decision. They thought the housing market prices was going to go down. They thought the houses would be in better shape. You're
Market
hearing a lot of people complaining.
Market
A
is
lot
hot
of people.
if you buying a house right now, maybe if you get a house built, you might get a deal. But if you buying a house right now, yeah, you definitely paying top dollars for these things, man. Like the market is super, super hot right now.
Yes, and at some point it's going to collapse because it's got to, because everything that was going on with the economy and the minimum wage stuff and this and that. I'll wait for the collapse, and then maybe that'll be a good situation, because anytime there's a bad situation for everybody else, there's a good situation if you know how to exploit it. So we're coming up towards the end of the show today when we ask who's to blame. I didn't really give this a lot of thought, but guys, who do you blame for people not planning for the future? For these kids not planning for the future when they're in, let's say when they're in their mid to late 20s. Because you got to mature. That's what I'm saying.
Mid to late 20s, I would blame the people. I blame the person, because when you're in your 20s, you either heading into college or out of high school, so you're in the real world. So I mean, you get a reality check at some point in time, and like Ruben said, either once you realize something, either you're gonna make it better and move towards what you understand, or you're just gonna stay in the same spot and keep spinning your wheels. So I mean, like when you get that reality check, you got to do something about it. If you know the knowledge, then you have to use the knowledge. If you decide to stay ignorant to the knowledge that you understand and the knowledge that you gain, then that's your fault.
Okay, so I'm going to answer now, and Ruben can answer last. I'm going to switch it up. So who do I blame? I'm going to agree with you, Aaron. I blame that particular person. Ruben said it several episodes again. The system is made up for us to carry them chains and keep on paying money our whole entire life. It's not made for us to retire and be profitable and live in economically great situations. So who do I blame? The people that's living in that. I think I started off in the beginning of the show. You learn more from your mistakes than your successes. If you make some mistakes, you should have learned from them, and you should be able to counter what's going on. And trust me, by 25, you done made some damn mistakes. Ruben, how do you feel about it?
I mean, I think it's a combination, upbringing and self, and system. So upbringing being what kind of family upbringing you had, like what type of parents you had, what type of family dynamics, did you have around you to see whether it was good example or bad examples on how to grow and how to be disciplined, how to budget and things like that. And then self is, that part of like when you get to, 19, 20, 21, and you're looking around and it's like, okay, making decisions for yourself, because it's like you're an adult, but you're still like a young adult. So it's a tricky situation where like you should know what to do, but all depending on who you had as a mom, or who you had as a dad, or who, what type of uncles and aunts you had around, and what type of influences you had, you may you may not really know which route to take. And then the last one is just society, man. Like social media got everybody thinking right now, like if you're not 20 and killing it, like you done messed up in life. Like, and it's the farthest from the truth. Like I knew what I wanted at 21 because I knew what I wanted at 18, but I wasn't killing it by no means. And I also understood that it was going to take me a while, to get to where I'm at today. Like I had to plan that out. But everybody want success off the rip, and that's just unrealistic, and that's not going to happen. It takes time. It's called a process for a reason.
Okay, so as we said, the future is now. Your decisions now will impact your decisions in the future. Don't get discouraged. Just make corrections, make changes, change the direction of what you're going, where you're going. Instead of taking the left road, go right. Take the long way around. That's okay, as long as you get to your destination. I want to thank everybody for joining us for Combustible Elements. Please go to the channel, like, share, subscribe. If you have any questions about something, or something you want to talk about, like we did today, if you have a topic, we'll run with it. We don't mind. If you want to be on here and you want to actually get into this conversation, we want you in this conversation. So I want to thank you again for joining us. I'm Big Mel. I'm here with Aaron the Hitman and Ruben the Monarch. We'll be talking to you later. Have a good one, guys.